Welcome back to Rising. I misspoke in our previous segment when we were talking about the vaccine schedule. I said like ages 17 to 11. I meant we're reducing the number of vaccines from 17 to 11. Just wanted to clarify that before we got to our next segment, which is Lindsey's Lens. Lindsey, what's in your lens today?
Okay, let's talk about it. So if you're confused like I am about the White House's messaging on drugs right now, you're not alone because the logic simply doesn't add up. On one hand, President Trump is escalating the drug war with unprecedented force. On the other, he's opening prison doors for convicted drug traffickers. That contradiction isn't just political whiplash, it's dangerous. So last weekend, Trump ordered a dramatic military operation in Venezuela, removing President Nicolas Maduro and charging him with narcotics trafficking and narco-terrorism. The justification, according to Trump and his administration, is that Maduro led a, quote, campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. Attorney General Pam Bondi put it bluntly, Maduro and his wife, quote, will soon face the full wrath of American justice on American soil in American courts. That's the tough on crime headline. But here's the part that doesn't square. Just last month, Trump pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, a man convicted in the U.S. court of helping smuggle more than 400 tons of cocaine into the United States. Hernandez wasn't some low-level player. Prosecutors once described his case as, quote, one of the largest and most violent drug trafficking conspiracies in the world. They had even argued that he should die in prison. But Trump's explanation? He told reporters on Saturday that Hernandez was treated unfairly. He went into more detail that supposed unfair treatment on Air Force One, explaining it late last year.
The people of Honduras really thought he was set up, that it was a terrible thing. He was the president of the country, and they basically said he was a drug dealer because he was the president of the country. And they said it was a Biden administration setup, and I looked at the facts and I agreed with them.
Calling it a Biden administration setup is not accurate. Hernandez's own brother was arrested and prosecuted on drug trafficking charges during the first Trump administration. And the prosecutor of Hernandez's brother was Emile Beauvais, who went on to become Trump's own personal attorney and is now a judge appointed by Trump. There's no evidence for this being a Biden setup at all. But I digress. Let's get back to the bigger point. Drug trafficking is serious enough to justify a military invasion of one country, but not serious enough to keep another convicted trafficker behind bars. And Hernandez isn't even an outlier. During Trump's second term, he has pardoned or released multiple figures tied to drug operations, including Ross Ulbricht, who was serving a life sentence for creating Silk Road, the dark web marketplace that fueled global drug sales. As the Justice Department stated in 2015, quote, Ulbricht deliberately operated Silk Road as an online criminal marketplace intended to enable its users to buy and sell drugs and other illicit illegal goods. The administration also freed and deported Cesar Humberto Lopez Larios, accused by the DOJ of, quote, being a high-ranking leader of MS-13. Now, Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia warned at that time that the decision, quote, not only undercuts ongoing federal investigation, but also threatens U.S. national security. So what are we really looking at here? Jeffrey Singer of the Cato Institute says the quiet part out loud, noting, if this is what's motivating Trump, if it's stopping drug trafficking, why is he pardoning the Honduran president who was convicted of cocaine trafficking? He went on to say it's never been about that. They're basically using the drug war as an excuse. And that's the through line. This isn't a coherent drug policy. It's a personalized one. Similar crimes, same prosecutors, same supply chains, totally different outcomes. The fact is you can't use the federal criminal prosecutions to promote foreign policy views or solve vendettas. You cannot claim moral authority in the drug war while selectively deciding who pays the price. And you can't call it justice when it looks this arbitrary. And you definitely can't call it leadership when the message keeps changing depending on who benefits.
I'm going to derail your entire
No. Stick to the focus. Okay.
One of those, Ross Ulbricht. That is my friend, who I was fully in support of having been released. He did not set up a specific drug trafficking thing. He created a site where all goods and services could be exchanged outside the purview of government oversight. Some, yes, illegal. I don't think they should
Drugs.
be illegal. Well, I don't think drugs should be illegal. I am for drug legalization.
Trump
Those
does,
things,
and that's why he's in Venezuela.
okay, those were things were sold on the platform, and he was blamed for the illicit activity on the platform he set up. He was not participating in those activities. And then in the sentencing, the judge made a mistake, and he was sentenced as if he had been found to have arranged an illegal transaction when he had not. And he got life in prison because of that. The Libertarian Party, of which I'm a member, has campaigned vigorously for his release. When the Libertarian Party chair met with, her name was Angela McArdle, she met with Trump. One of the conditions for the support of the Libertarian Party was that Trump would pardon him, which he did. He fulfilled that promise, and I am glad. It's one of my very favorite things that Trump has done.
Okay.
So
let's pluck one people out of the many examples that I gave, and let's compare apples to apples, talk about the former Honduras president and the Venezuelan president and how their accusations and charges were very similar, and one recently was pardoned and one has been pulled out of his home country and brought to a U.S. jail. And let's also connect the dots, since a lot of people are raising an eyebrow saying, is this about drugs? And let's remember that when Trump was on the campaign trail in April of 2024, at dinner at Mar-a-Lago, he told a bunch of oil donors, donate $1 billion to me, and I'm going to make sure that you guys feel whole on the other side of that donation.
It doesn't even seem clear to me that the oil companies are interested in this. It sounds like it would take a massive investment for them to take advantage of
and that was some of the reporting, but then
that's what I've heard.
But all we're looking for is a coherent policy. This can't be a war on drugs when you're pardoning drug criminals of very similar.
You say that it can't be, but it can be.
No, but then how? Then he's just picking vendettas with who? So then what is the motivation? People are trying to look into that. If it's not oil, then what is it? Because you surely don't think that fentanyl is the biggest issue, because you keep mentioning fentanyl and it's not even coming mostly out of Venezuela. So what is the actual thing that you're trying to convict the entire, or rid the world of, while also pardoning and putting people back in the world that are convicted of similar crimes?
I think, in all honesty, it's not about drugs.
So what do you make of this?
Well, he was a evil dictator and a communist and an enemy of the United States, and so we took him out. I think that's what it's about.
Well, then he's going to go around the rest of the world and find evil communist dictators and take them all out.
Not the rest of the world, but
that's the policy that you'd like to see move forward.
I'm saying what I like. I'm just trying to explain the administration's rationale. You're right. They've offered the drug thing, oil, policing our own hemisphere, fighting communism. There's a bunch of justifications being put forward. The drug justification, which might be the technical legal justification, where they're saying this is why it's law enforcement rather than military, which I don't really
nobody buys
by at all. No one is persuaded by it. Yeah, I don't think it's about drugs. I think it's bad guy. We got him.
Right, and since no one's persuaded that this is not a military operation, boots on the ground, then when he goes to court and argues that he was illegally taken out of his country, we might have a whole waste of time that we have on our hands.
His country. I mean, he illegally installed himself as the ruler of the country.
He's still born there. He still lived there. He was taken out of his country, by our military, and they said it wasn't a war on Venezuela, it was a war on drugs. And he's saying this is illegal. The action was, this is a war with Venezuela.
Well, because I saw my friend Kat Timpf at Fox News say this. We described the drugs entering our country as a war, but we're not going to describe going there and taking their president as an act of war. We've said what they're doing is an act of war, even though they've not sent troops into our country. So clearly what we did was more of a war thing than what, supposedly they've done. So I don't think the legal justification is particularly sound. That's why it should have been voted on by Congress, and it should have been about deposing this rogue leader who is despised by his own people. His people are celebrating in the streets. They're celebrating all over the world. Videos of people celebrate. The Venezuelan people that I know, even who are, if they might be totally non-political or even like not conservative or Trump supporting in any respect, they're all cheering. They hate him. He's evil.
Two things can be true at once.
Yeah, and so I'm, even as I am hesitant to endorse regime change or say that the U.S. government should do anything, or the federal government should do anything beyond Congress's powers, I am still, I am moved, and I am happy for the people of Venezuela who are cheering the possibility of freedom taking hold again in their country, who want that, who yearn for it.
What did you say yesterday? Viva, what's the saying?
Viva la libertad. They want freedom and they deserve it. Next up, Pete Hegseth is moving to demote the military rank of senator and retired Navy captain Mark Kelly. Coming up, why Hegseth says the senator is in violation of the Code of Military Justice.